Tired of the silence, the sugar-coated lies. Another headline screaming behind vacant eyes. They build up their walls so high and so strong, but the truth's gonna break through before too long. Every single day, the same damn old game, pointing all the fingers, nobody takes the blame. This pressure's building, it's starting to crack. Ain't no turning back now, ain't no holding back. I'm about to say it, yeah, I'm about to scream. Tired of the fake smiles, living in a dream. The real life's bleeding out in the cold. Gotta break the mold, gotta let it unfold. I'm about to say it, every single word. The uncomfortable truth finally gonna be heard. I'm gonna say it.
What's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Terrific Tuesday to everyone. Thank you all for coming in. I appreciate you joining us. We back for another episode of hashtag I'm Gonna Say It. And you know how we do here. We talk about things that's going on in the celebrity world, sometimes political, and just in life. Let's get cheeky with it. You made it in. I've been feeling pretty sick, but been pushing forward. Hey, I'm keeping you in my prayers. I'm keeping you in my prayers, bestie. I hope you're feeling at least a little bit better today. Thank you for joining in. You know, we cover the Puffy Jacket trial and stuff, but we also like to go back and bring up some things that maybe we miss. Like one thing we've agreed on is the fact that a lot of things that happened back in the day that we didn't know what they really meant, we're starting to find out they were telling us the truth. We thought it was just hot lyrics in a song, but it was actually more than that. Let's get cheeky. Says, okay, I'm sitting in here always. Okay, all right, cool. Just relax. You relax, and I got you from here. I got you from here. So before we get started, let's do our disclaimer.
Female voice. Welcome to hashtag I'm Gonna Say It. All things said in today's show are alleged and for entertainment and educational purposes only. If you are below the age of 18, we request that you leave the live now. Enjoy.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get down to business. So I had a couple of videos that I was watching yesterday, and I was like, man, I didn't know this happened, or now that I heard that it happened, I can see where we're going with it now. Like I can see things that we are finding out now was going on back then in the 90s, right? Let's get cheeky. Says, I think you need my cartoon voice on there. Laugh out loud. Yeah, and how you were saying that name for me. I cannot remember who it was. Remember we was going over the court transcripts and we was reading it, and I couldn't pronounce the person's name, but the way you said it was like, man, it was immaculate. I loved it. Which, by the way, for those of you that's new here, we also do that too. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. You put it like it just flowed perfectly. And I was just pointing at, I'm like, and then you would say it, man, it was on point. We got to do that again. Well, if he comes back up and have to ask any questions, I'm going to have to recruit you to do that again, because you did that just awesome. It sounded great. Those that's new here, we also read what's going on in court too, so we can keep up with that. But they typically start at 9, so we got like 30 minutes before they start. And so I'm going to go ahead and play this first video. And it's starting to go viral more now, given everything that's going on. But it's with Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan. He said, shout out to Meth. But it says Tupac's last call to Method Man about Puffy Jacket goes viral. So let's check it out.
It's like, Map, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. There ain't no way I'm getting in that fucking car. I look at Pac, and Pac got a whole different face. His face looked like that picture before he died, that face he had. Oh, that look. He had that look on his face. You know what I mean?
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
I believe so. I do believe so. I have proof.
I don't know if y'all could hear that part, but this is the interview, and I think it was Vibe magazine, but this is an interview that Pac was doing, and the lady asked him if he believed that Puffy Jacket had something to do with him being in Quad Studio. So I'm gonna play it back just a little bit because I know it's kind of muffled because it's from the actual interview, but
you know what I mean?
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
I believe so. I do believe so. I have proof, things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. If you're gonna act like you a gangster or a G or the king of New York, I'm gonna expect that. And when you don't come through, then I'm gonna want to crush your empire. And that's what it's time for.
Method Man is...
So let's just pause right there for a minute, because that came from Pac himself, out of his mouth. It's not no AI generated anything like that. We didn't have that. You see what I'm saying? So, and then he goes on to say, I have proof that he did. He knows it, and I know, but it's not for the world to know. Like he knows some things. Talking about Pac, he was saying he knows things, and he knows that Puffy Jacket knows some things, but it's not for the world to know. Again, this was, I think that was in 96. I think that was right before he passed away. But what I'm saying is, it's already given us concrete proof and evidence that all of these things that we're hearing about in the celebrity world, it has been going on. What do let's get cheeky with it. Says, what do you think he meant by that? I think he meant, hey, I know you did this. I know why you did this. You wanted to silence me because he wanted to silence Pac because Pac knew some things about some key people in the higher up or in that secret society. I think he knew that I think he knew that he was jealous. Puffy Jacket was jealous of his friendship, Pac's friendship with Big, because you know they were really friends. But then too, I think the major part of it, and this is just me. It's not. You know, it's not true. I mean, it's not been proven, but this is just me. Given what is alleged to be Kim Porter's words, she put in the book, allegedly, that Puffy Jacket wanted to be intimate with Pac and her. She put in the book, allegedly, it's supposed to be her words, that at a party one time they were having, how Puffy Jacket came over to her and Pac, and he asked Pac, "You think my girl look cute?" And I'm paraphrasing, but it's along these lines. My girl look good, my woman look good or something, and you think she's beautiful or pretty or something. And Pac said, "Yeah, you know." And she'd already said that they had relations, her and Pac. And then she goes on to say that, and allegedly again, in the book, she goes on to say that Puffy Jacket asked Pac, who you think does it to her better. I had to think of what words I wanted to say because y'all know how this platform is sensitive when you start getting in, and delegating with the truth. But so he was saying, who do you think does it to her better? If you know, we adults here, so y'all follow me with that. You get where I'm going. And he was like, well, why don't we just do it? This is what Kim is saying that Puffy Jacket stated. Tell to Pop, let's all three basically do it and see, you know, who's better and stuff like that. That's what I think. Let's get cheeky with it. She says, it still blows my mind that all these people out here think he's innocent. Yes. Yes. And see, this is another thing that points that out. This is way back in the 90s. And so just by that statement, he knows and I know, but it's not for the world to know. That lets us know that there is a bigger secret going on than what we could ever imagine. I mean, we couldn't fathom it back in the 90s because it was just music to us. We wasn't how can I put it without getting in trouble? We wasn't privy or knowledgeable about the secret society that starts with the I. We'll say with the ill. It starts as ill, okay? And then y'all can finish that off. But to land this plane for your question, think about that last CD or album or whatever we called it. I had the tape. But think about that last project that was released right after Pac passed away. Machiavelli killed Lumen, y'all know? The 7-Day Theory. So when you break that down, kill Lumen, you know, he's basically saying, I'm about to end and expose that group or people in that group. That's what I take from it. Now, of course, you know, let's get cheeky with it. You know, Bestie, a lot of people don't do that deep dive like we do. A lot of people don't see it from, it's from, and like I said before, I think that comes from a lot of people suffering from the idolatry aspect of it. It's hard to, some people like him. Like and it's the same as like an athlete, like a favorite athlete, you know, somebody. For instance, I use me. I just use me. My favorite football player of all time is Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt, if you get this, brother, I'm just using you as an example. I am not linking you to any of this, but I'm just saying that's my favorite football player of all time. So now, if it came out that Emmitt Smith was at these parties, or if there was multiple pictures of him hanging out with these people in that kind of setting over and over and over again, and then talks of him possibly doing something, well, if I wouldn't sit here and say, well, nah, he's innocent. He couldn't have done that. Well, I mean, he might be my favorite player of all time, but I can see he got himself in some compromising situations that it could possibly be true. I think when people get there, that's when it'll all click for them. Or they saying, well, you know, they don't have Ricardo charges proven. And that's been proven. That's been proven. It's to the person as if they want to accept it or not. You get me? But that's been proven. So, you know, they get hung up on the DV part aspect of everything. But that's just telling. That's just telling. Because we all know Pac ain't going to lie. He wasn't one to bite his tongue. He wasn't one to mince words. So that's a powerful thing.
Is finally speaking out about a conversation he had with Tupac shortly before Pac was killed. And it sounds like Pac was trying to
Let's get
warn
cheeky
Method
with this. I
Man
will
that
agree with
Diddy
you. I
wasn't who
think
he
they've proven
pretended to
everything,
be,
piece
and
by
that the
piece.
industry was
Exactly.
being manipulated behind
Slowly,
the scenes in ways most
methodically,
artists
they
didn't
have.
even realize at the time. Now, before people try to write this off as some made-up story, the truth is Tupac and Method Man actually had a real connection. They collaborated on Got My Mind Made Up, which came out in 1996, just months before Pac went out of his way to keep working with East Coast rappers he respected, even while beefing with Bad Boy. And out of all the East Coast names, Pac always made it clear that Meth was one of the few he trusted. And here's where it gets interesting. In one of their last conversations, Pac apparently told Meth to watch out for certain people, and Diddy's name came up. And while Meth didn't give away every detail, he did say that there was a time Diddy tried to get him to leave a party with him. But Meth said something felt off, so he turned down the ride. And looking back, Meth admitted that both he and Pac were paranoid during that time. And honestly, with everything...
Why would they be paranoid at that time? This is back in 96. Why would they be paranoid of Puffy Jacket at that time if he wasn't already doing some things we have come to find out he's been accused of doing? Why would they be afraid of him back then? And I don't know if afraid is the right word I should use, but they were leery. How about that about him?
Everything going on, they had every reason to be.
But
More
We got a
boxes.
commercial. Let's get this commercial out the way and get back to work.
the Puffy, P. Diddy, and you around a bunch of other motherfuckers.
Showtime.
Showtime, baby. And I don't
So to give you some context first, Method Man was one of the few East Coast rappers who managed to stay neutral during the whole East Coast-West Coast mess. While most people were either picking sides or getting dragged into the drama, Meth kept his respect on both coasts. He worked with Biggie and Diddy early on, but he also had real love for Pac and didn't let the media pit him against anyone. He wasn't about that fake industry loyalty. He just wanted to rap, stay true to his people, and avoid the politics. And that's probably why Pac trusted him enough to speak freely, because he knew Meth wasn't playing both sides. He was just trying to survive the chaos. Now, Method Man has always been the type to stay out of the gossip, and even with all the craziness surrounding Diddy lately, he's mostly stayed quiet and kept it moving. That's how he's always handled the industry. Stay solid, don't speak on what doesn't need speaking on. But an old interview with Meth is making rounds again,
33,
and it's
welcome
got people
in.
looking at things differently. So in this interview, Meth talks about the night he met both Diddy and Tupac, literally on the same night. This took place in a
Somebody
party
said
in L.A.,
Tupac
and Meth
is the
said Pac
Messiah.
walked straight up to him and showed nothing but
Said,
respect.
"Don't,
And what stood out was that Pac brought up the Wu-Tang chain situation
Charlie
when RZA
Sprinkles,
got his chain
Peace
snatched in
God,
Club
what you up to,
662.
man? You
We
ready
on
to
our
rock
way
and
out.
roll with it?
Lights come on at the end of the party. Party over. Lights come on. I'm blowed now. I'm like, shh. Feel a tap on my shoulder. Turn around. It's Pac. I ain't seen all night. I ain't know he was even in there. I turn around. Pac there. He's like, yo, wanna holler at anybody? Next thing I know, cameras everywhere. So while he's saying this, I remember something at an altercation happened with RZA in Vegas. Something happened with the chain and Pac.
Hold on, we'll get back to that. Hold on 1 second. Let's get cheeky with it. Says, I love Method Man and Redman. What are the best collaborations in the 90s? I do agree with you on that. I think they were one of the best duos or collaborators in the game then. Ghostface Killer and Raekwon was nice. They was nice, but Meth and Red just gave you that. It was just it was just gutter. And I like, even with the give me a minute. Oh my gosh, we going back. It was an alcoholic beverage. Charlie Sprinkle said it's almost like they're the ones that went up too fast. He should have been the group. Been in which group? I can't think of what I was thinking about. It's a drink. They did a commercial. Redman and Method Man did a commercial for it, and it St. Ives. That commercial was the hardest commercial. And don't get me wrong, no shade. Oh yeah, they should have. Yeah. Charlie Sprinkle said Redman and Method Man should have been a group. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, brother. Now, I know here recently they made Redman an honorary member of Wu-Tang Clan, but nah, man, they needed to listen. Just take the Rottweiler song. You don't want it to end. It's like it's quick, but the beat is hard. The lyrics are, I mean, the lyrics drag across the track like a wounded body. It's just everything is phenomenal. But the song wasn't long enough. To me, that's how you know you got a classic track. When you hear it and you don't even want the song to end. It's one of those songs where and we going back to we're talking about the 90s, people. So it's back when we had the disc change you would just completely stay on that song. That's just one of those songs right there. The Rottweiler, Redman and Method Man. It's got to be it's a quick song, but that's good because it have you feeling for more. You want to hear more of it.
Trying to tell me, if I was there, that would never happen, blah, 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 blah. And I remember looking up, and Suge was like this with the cigar in his mouth, looking down at me like this. So I'm like, damn, I'm just on a plane with this. He looking at me crazy right now, So then I look at Pac, and Pac got a whole different face. His face looked like that picture before he died, that face he had.
Oh, this
that.
He's talking about how Pac looked in the famous picture where he's in the car right before he got, when he's in the car with Suge, and he's got that face. That's what Method Man is talking about right now. Rest in power to Tupac, by the way.
That look. He had
Marie,
that look
good
on
morning,
his face,
bestie.
You know what I mean? And I remember looking back down, and I couldn't understand anything he was saying after that because mad was going through my head, and I'm looking at the Death Row piece on his chain. Then he was like, yeah, we gonna all meet up, and I was like,
it's not a call. It says a call, the Tupac call. It's not a call. It's just what they mean by that is when the incident happened where Puffy Jacket was trying to get Method Man in his car, and he's basically saying Pop was giving him a look, letting him know like don't do that, don't make that move. It says call, which will lead you to think it's a phone call, but no, brother, that's not what they're talking about. He's talking about the look that he gave him. Basically letting him know that's not the move you need to make. I'm looking out for you. So you just gotta.
Walked out. Soon as I walked out the club, Tracy Waples. Love Trey Wap.
Executive label executive, worked behind the scenes for a long time.
She outside in a Benz like, Meth, come on.
By the way, Pac would later say in another interview that he personally found who stole the chain and then gave Wu-Tang the message that if they wanted to see the dudes that did it, they could see him. But here's where it gets weird.
Play Bone,
Meth
good
said
morning
that as soon
to
as
you.
he
Good
finished
morning.
talking to
Thank you
Pac,
for
did he
joining.
send someone to try and get Meth to hop in his car and leave with him? Luckily, Meth said he didn't like the vibe and turned it down.
Walked out. Soon as I walked out the club, Tracy Waples. Love Trey Wap.
Executive label executive, worked behind the scenes for a long time.
She outside in a Benz like, Meth, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff Car.
Commercials, but you can always count on a commercial to break up a story right in the height of it.
No.
And now with everything coming out about these private Diddy parties, that small moment suddenly feels way more loaded. Meth didn't say anything wild in that interview. He just told the story straight. But fans are reading between the lines now, especially knowing what we know about Diddy's behind-the-scenes behavior and how he was recruiting rappers to party with him.
Hennessy, come out and play.
And if you really pay attention, Method Man's been dropping warnings for a while. He just never spelled it out directly. One of his biggest clues was his verse on Suspect Chin Music, where he raps, "They got me fed up from the head up, put up or shut up, on stage in them shiny get-ups, ninjas is funny, Energizer Bunny actors."
Okay, so now let's E.B. Lolo, girl, where you been? How you doing? So let's start. Let me break that verse down to you. They got me fed up from the head up, put up or shut up, on stage in them shiny get up. Go on YouTube and you look up, I think it's More Money, More Problems. I believe it is. But when he's talking about the shiny get ups, he's talking about Puffy Jacket and Mace. And I think that's the video. I could be wrong, but I think that's the video. Matter of fact, I don't want to tell you no lies. Let's pause for a minute. Let's go check. Yeah. Hold on. Let me mute it so we don't get in trouble.
Great news.
I just want to play it and make sure. Let's get cheeky with it. Says, yes, it is, I believe. And she says, welcome in, everyone. I think it is. I agree with you. Yes, we are correct. We are correct. Let's get cheeky with it. So, you all can go at your own leisure and check that video out if you would like. But that's what he was referring to in that verse.
They hustle backwards, so I think they gay rappers. And it's not hard to connect the dots. Meth was clearly side-on.
And so when he's talking about they rappers, the G rappers, he don't mean gangster, by the way. You guys, you heard. We know all of the things that are alleged. I gotta say alleged, people, because it's for the integrity of the platform. But allege that Puffy Jacket does, right? Charlie Sprinkle says 90% of entertainers are that way. I don't dispute that. I don't know the numbers, but I wouldn't dispute it.
The flashy, fake gangsta artists who were dominating the scene. And let's be real, that screams bad boy era. Now, at the time, it probably flew under the radar because no one wanted to touch those topics out loud. But now, in light of everything surfacing about Diddy, it looks like Meth might have been one of the few who saw it early and decided to speak in code. But what about Tupac? What exactly did he warn Meth about? Well, according to people close to Pac and what fans are piecing together now, it wasn't just about the rap beef or surface level drama. Pac had already started to see Diddy as more than just a rival. He saw him as a part of a system that was using the industry to control, silence, and exploit artists. Pac believed Diddy wasn't just playing the game. He was helping to rig it. Whether it was through shady contracts, weird parties, or backdoor deals, Pac saw something fake in the image Diddy was pushing. And he didn't want Meth to fall for it. But it actually gets even darker when you go back to Tupac's infamous Vibe magazine interview from 1996. In that interview, Pac straight up said that some of the biggest names in the industry were guilty of the worst kinds of crimes, including pedophile stuff. And yet somehow they were the ones being protected by the system. Meanwhile, he was being dragged through the mud and thrown in jail over what he always claimed was a false accusation. And while Pac didn't name Diddy directly in that part, the entire interview was basically aimed at Bad Boy and everyone backing them. So if you read between the lines, it's not hard to figure out who he was pointing at.
Because they disrespected me, my name, my family, what I had been through. They said that I couldn't be in pain. I could not feel. I could not be hurt. In my moment of pain, when I was shot 5 times in jail for a crime I didn't commit, while every other black person, whoever they was in the ass or them in 50 pieces, I support. I go to jail for a crime.
Man, so he just said back then, now again, this is 96. They effing young people in the you know, and then he says cut them into 50 pieces. The reason why I'm bringing that up, or what makes that stand out to me, is because not a lot, but a few times it has been mentioned that they harvest organs. They harvest organs. And I just want, I could be way, way out of bounds, right? Charlie Sprinkle says what Tupac talks about is in Kim Porter's book. Yeah, we mentioned that a few minutes ago. But I wonder if that's I'm just thinking, is that on the same lines of what is coming out now as far as harvesting the organs, and some people have a fetish. I guess it's a fetish of severing limbs and stuff like that. I don't know. I just know that in '96 we wasn't nowhere near where we are right now, and this man is talking about that, and Pac was real, man. He was real.
Everybody know I did not commit times, and I'm getting jail, wompty. They just say anything to assassinate my character. What that showed me, remember this lack of a conscience when I come out. Remember this lack of mercy when I come out. Remember this lack of compassion when I come out. And I will do anything to protect and feed my family. And these represent a threat.
But that's not all. Another old interview recently resurfaced where Suge Knight kind of hinted at something similar and said that Tupac was worried that some industry men who were on the DL might harm little ones.
And again, we have a commercial. Man.
Rapper that mess with guys and go both ways. Pac didn't feel that was good. Because Pac felt he was real serious about the music. So if you're a producer or you rap, and regardless if you're married or not, and
who's a producer and tries to rap,
you got a boyfriend that works for you, a real boyfriend who used to be a dancer.
Give you a hint, he's on trial now.
Pac studied all the facts. Pac was real smart. So before he say something, he'd go and do his homework. He'd say, okay, this guy right here, they say he gay, he go both ways.
We love TikTok
I'm not gonna
shop.
put it out there on him yet. But I'm gonna do my research, and if it's true, the world should know. Because this guy might be around one of those little kids one day and mess around with them. And, so I'm gonna do it to actually save him from molesting a little child. That's why Pac attacked certain rappers and said,
hey, we love
and looking
TikTok
back
shop.
at all this now, it's clear Tupac was way ahead of his time. He wasn't just calling out fake friends or shady business. He was trying to expose something much bigger. Pac saw early on that what Diddy was doing wasn't just about winning a rap beef. He suspected Diddy was part of a deeper, darker machine, a network of protected elites inside the music industry doing whatever they wanted behind closed doors with
How many times have we talked about that?
full immunity. And Pac was one of
That
the only
elite
people
group.
bold enough to try and pull the curtain back, which is probably why he ended up being targeted so aggressively. And it's wild when you really think about it. Tupac was the one who was followed and spied on by the FBI for years.
So they saw that COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program set up by J. Edgar Hoover, saw that the Panthers were doing a damn good job because all over the country they got this buzz. Similar to how Thug Life is. So, Thug Life. Yeah. So now, the Panthers got everybody talking about the Panthers, and we want to be free, and we want decent housing. We're talking
good morning from Colorado, Pueblo, Colorado, checking in with us. Welcome to hashtag I'm Gonna Say It. Thank you for joining.
Black organization. And why would you not think
they said Pac
infiltrators
with multiple red heart
emojis? They were Panthers. They joined the Panthers.
Yeah, man.
And
We lost a great one.
Start the ruckus. Like, say, let's go shoot up the botanical gardens or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And do it in the name of the Panthers, but it's a cop. You know what I'm saying? And everybody think it's the Panthers because he's just like a Panther. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, pause. You hear what he was just saying? Wow, man. Wow, powerful. Okay. You see, he was saying how they would, they would go and at this botanical garden and stuff, right? But they would say that it was the Black Panthers, but in reality, it was cops. Jenny, what's going on, bestie? In reality, it was cops dressed up like Black Panthers that was doing so that the media could say that it was the Black Panthers destroyed